What's up, y'all? It's Kenny Cummins here. You're chilling with Kenny C on this, I guess you could say Christmas weekend at this point, extended Christmas weekend, depending how you take it. Um, so yeah, I'm joined with this is my last interview of 2022. He's been on the show numerous times. This is the first time we're doing the Zoom.
First time, yeah.
First
First
time we're
time.
doing the Zoom. He's known in Kentucky. He's been in Kentucky. But he's a Texan boy at heart. He's a Texan. Granted, as far as college sports, he's Oklahoma bred.
Also,
OU.
liked your password for our meeting.
I kind of figured you would like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to come up with some clever passwords, and you're the first person to notice the password.
Oh yeah.
So I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Uh, I'm joined with AR Greens. Like I said, it's my last interview of the year. Good to have you back on.
Appreciate you.
So you've been busy this year. We not just musically but personally relocating back to Texas. Um, Alter Egos 2. You put that project out. You've been working with some local hip hop artists in the Texas area. Unity over Envy, from my understanding. I've interviewed plethora of artists in that group. So man, looking back and reflecting these 12 months for you, how would you describe your 2022 as far as musically and everything else that's happening? How you feel about this year overall?
It was a roller coaster to say the least. Musically, I feel like it was a good year. We had a lot of content put out, a lot of content still sitting on, a lot of content still being made. So musically, it was a good year. Personally, we had its ups, had its downs, and you just got to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. And that's all you can do. So I mean, that's how I'm kind of living right now. I'm looking at life from a different perspective, a different lens right now. So of course, music gonna sound a little bit different than what it has in the past, but still it's still staying true to me, but it's definitely different right now. Life is totally different. So the vibe of the music's totally different. So it's just I've been on really this past 6 months, really just trying to find me. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that kind of got lost along the way. So that's kind of what I've been out doing. And now we're here. You know what I'm saying? So, with these past 6 months, we really sat down and was like, okay, we've tried all this, what's the next thing to try? Like, what's the next thing that's going to push us to that next, envelope? You know what I'm saying? In a musical sense, but you also got to have that life perspective to get to that next envelope in music, because without that life experience, you can't grow and move forward.
Well said, man. So yeah, obviously relocating back to Texas, begin to network with a lot of local hip hop artists, doing some shows, just trying to show people that hey, you know Texas got a hip hop scene here on the
It
indie
does. It
side.
really does.
And I can attest to that. I think I've interviewed so many Texas hip hop artists. I've lost count. I don't even have. I know it's about a dozen of
Yeah.
Texas hip hop artists I've interviewed, and most of it came through you. I'm getting all these messages, friends requests, like, "Hey man, I want to be on." So shout out to Texas, man. You know, just a talented hip hop scene that's out there, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's next, for 2023 for everyone, that's going to be putting out some music. So obviously, man, with you, I enjoy alter egos too. I definitely seen um a lot of input, seen, you taking extra steps musically, and you it was good to see you and Dizzy collaborate
Yeah,
on that, on because I love the Chasing the Ground joint.
yeah, yeah,
That
for
was
sure.
a hard hitter. Shout out to Dizzy, by the way. I did interview him just about a week ago, and
Yep,
he
yep. It
just
was a week
released,
ago. Yeah.
and he released his latest project, The Fly Will Warm Me. If you ain't have, if you haven't heard that project, go check that
Bars.
out. Dizzy really killed
Bars.
it. He's lyrically nice with it. He's lyrically nice with it. And he's a comic buff. You know what I'm saying? He's a comic buff.
Yep. Yep.
The DC, the Marvel. Yeah, so you'll get some references on that particular project, obviously. Um,
For sure. For sure.
so with everything that you have done, that you've been able to do musically and networking, um, I will ask you this. What's it been like for you, getting to connect with a lot of artists on the indie side? What's been like networking with them, getting to know them as artists, as people? What's it been like to connect with some of the fellow hip hop artists in the Texas area?
It's been great. Um, the talent is alive and well. Um, it's always good for an artist to network with other artists, but whenever other artists start to see other artists move in a certain way, people start to pay attention, people start to take notice, and it blossoms from there in a sense. Um, but being around these artists, performing with these artists, even working with photographers and videographers, over the past couple of months. It's just been a great experience being back home and seeing, the place that I left, still in great standings because the talent, is still there. There's more and more talent coming up every single day. And, it's been great, collab wise, like, of course, UOE and Radar Theory, Big Rock 325, FTP Savvy and J Raw. Uh, those collabs will constantly keep coming out. But like Rob Vay still super nice with it, still super heavy in the scene in West Texas. Country De La Rosa, Damasio Perez. I'm all working with them right now. Black Benny. Shout out to Creative Crew. They also shot my last video with Radar Theory, Hiroshima. Uh, dope people, dope artists. Just can't praise the area enough for what they're doing. Because they're trying to make it happen one way or another, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. Because you have so many people who are invested in time and effort, and it's been a work in progress, but it's going great right now.
Yeah, so with indie artists, everybody wants to get themselves heard. I mean, that's an obvious thing. But when you get to connect with people, when you get to interact, and when you get to work together and form a bond, you know, hip hop, as we all know, and you being a artist, it can be very competitive. Egos can get in the way. People want to, get to the top, and they're willing to step on people to do that. Um, but from the indie artist side, from that perspective, it's different. Like, you can't do it alone.
And
Strength in numbers is up. So just working with people and try to see where it goes, and you really taking the time and investing in the craft. So yeah, man, it's music is a collective thing. just work with people, get to and see where it goes. I'm
Facts.
excited for a lot of the artists in West Texas. I've interacted with so many of them. I mean, I think that's one. I've interviewed a lot of people from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Texas. Those are the three popular states as far as people that I've interviewed this year. So it's good, man. Shout out to Texas, man. I love Texas. I'm always gonna love Texas. With the music scene that's out there, and 2023 is gonna be fun to watch and
Yeah,
to
for
listen.
sure.
Um, what do you have in store for 2023? Obviously, with music, but you have anything in the works? Maybe more music or collaborations or some shows, perhaps. What you got coming next year, man?
So, uh, well, first and foremost, we're ending the year with a bang. I got a single drop in Christmas Eve. Me Gonna Find Me featuring Kentucky's own Marshall Black.
Yeah,
Super fire track. And Hiroshima's audio will be dropping Christmas Day. And then we'll probably roll out one more single in January, the beginning of the new year. And then probably February, mid-February drop. There's Always Tomorrow. Project that I've been working on the past few months. It's totally different. You still have a few tracks that are kind of my typical styles, but then you have tracks where big vocals, man. Like I don't know how to not undersell that. Like the vocals that I have on this one um are just different, man. From everything else I've done, like you really feel like you feel it. Like some of the tracks will give you chills from the vocals. Like it's big, it's different, and I'm excited about this one. Some money's gonna be put behind this one, marketing wise, for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. And then I still have tracks that I'm working on for a project I want to release later in 2023 called Genocide. And that one's going to be more boom bap heavy, like in your face, straight through. Like that one's going to be nice. And it will probably feature, one of your favorite Dizzy and probably a few other hitters that I got over there in Kentucky. It's going to be nice. 2023 is going to be fire. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be fast and it's going to be fire.
yeah, man. So shout out to Marshall Black because I saw him perform recently. He was one of the opening acts for the Ja Rule and Ashanti show at
So the
the Rupp Arena. Um, so shout out to him. I had a really good time. That was the last concert that I went to this year. So for me, I'm excited for 2023. There's been a lot of speculation about my future in radio. Um, so I'm just gonna repeat what I've been posting these last 2 days. I'm not going anywhere. Um, I have a lot in store. I got interviews lined up in January, and year 16 is happening. 16
Yep.
years. So indie music keeps me going. Indie wrestling keeps me going. So I'm gonna keep going for as
Yeah.
long as I can. Um, so it's 2023 looks promising. And I'm going, and since I'm not doing shows on Saturdays anymore, I'm looking forward to enjoying Saturday nights like everybody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Just going to concerts more, going to indie shows, festivals, comic cons, all that. I'm gonna be Saturday is gonna be crazy, but I'm looking forward to it. So I'm gonna be like the boogeyman on Saturdays, just pop up when you least expect it. Um, so yeah, man. Obviously, it's always good talking to you about your music and seeing
Always.
what you got going on. But you know, man, for these conversations we had, we got to get to to the
Yeah.
sports portion
Here we
of
go.
this.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, you are the biggest, you're an Oklahoma fan,
Through and
to the
through.
fullest, through and through. So obviously, we are watching the conference championship games, and my Ohio State Buckeyes needed some help, and that help came
Yep.
courtesy of the Utah Utes. And you had interest in that game because of the head
Yeah. Shout
coach.
out Utah. Shout out Utah.
So and that individual is coming to my conference next year to the Big Ten,
It
USC,
is.
UCLA. Um, Maybe we could have claimed them if they would have won, but my feelings are not hurt because because they took the L, and my Buckeyes got that fourth spot. I know we're in for a tough fight against Georgia, but I can at least gloat that they made the playoff. So I
Facts.
got that
That's
going
facts.
for me.
There's only four
So
teams a year that make it. For
and they
now.
will
For now.
they yeah. The 12-team format that's coming. I'm
I can't
thinking
wait.
2024.
Yeah,
So
2024 is when it'll
yeah,
be first year.
2024. So pretty much all the bowl games that we are accustomed to are going to become playoff games at this
Yep.
point. So I'm okay with it. It was bound to happen. I would have been cool with 8, but I
Yeah.
said, nah, we're going to 12.
Hey,
So I'm
more the
curious.
merrier.
I'm curious for that, and I'm also curious if like the higher seeds are going to be home games, because I don't know if some of these West Coast teams want to deal with the Midwest weather
Right.
come December and January, you know. But that's a whole nother subject for another time.
Right.
That to USC, obviously they lose their opportunity at the playoff, and then Caleb Williams, another Oklahoma alum, went on to win the Heisman, which not very surprising. I seen the stats and like I can't I can't I can't argue with that. I didn't think
Yeah.
Stroud was gonna win anyway. I'm just happy that he got the trip to New York.
Yeah.
So and look, I know Oklahoma fans are not on good terms. Pretty much never gonna be on good terms with Lincoln Riley, but he has built quite the QB factory these last few
He
years.
has.
From
He has.
Mayfield to Murray to Williams. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to go, if you want your Q, if you want a QB to take it to the next level, Lincoln Riley's the guy. It appears.
Yeah.
Um,
As of right now.
as of right now. So signing day was yesterday. I think a day or two ago. Um, so how you feeling about these Oklahoma signees going into
Um,
next season?
I thought Coach Venables had one of the best signing days I've seen in a while as an Oklahoma recruiting class. You bring in arguably the best Texas quarterback in high school at this moment. Um, that kid can sling the rock. He will shred some defenses coming in. Um, the to defensive ends to the safety we flipped from Oregon today. It has been boom, one right after the other. I think we finished yesterday and today, number 4 or 5 in the nation in the recruiting class. Um, I don't think people were expecting Coach Venables to bring in the amount of talent that he has on both sides of the football. Um, but I think that we still have a little bit. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, okay, this is gonna be our year next year. I still think we're a year out for Coach Venables to be fully like connected to see every single player that he's brought in. It's always, I wouldn't say a tough transition, but some kids just don't fit the system, but they're still there because they're talented. So I think once we're able to have 22 guys on the field plus 11 more on special teams, all from the Levy Venables factory, I think we're gonna be I think we're gonna be in really good shape come time to move to the SEC. I think we'll be in really good shape.
So pretty much once we go from 4 to 12, that's when Texas and Oklahoma make the move to the
Yep.
SEC. And that's going to be a huge hit on the Big 12. Like, those are your two big powerhouses there. And the river rivalry, I mean, as long as the SEC have those two face each other, they keep that rivalry going. Now that they both go into the same conference together, and then that's good for football fans in general. The Big 12, they're gonna
I
be
mean
hit pretty hard.
that like the beautiful thing about Oklahoma and Texas both going to the SEC. Like, of course, you got to keep that Texas Oklahoma because of the viewership and how much revenue that game brings in on a single Saturday. The only other game that's bigger is Ohio State and Michigan. Like, it don't, those two don't get much bigger. And then, you get the chance to reopen that Texas A&M rivalry we used to watch on Thanksgiving night, growing up. And then you also get to open up that Texas Arkansas rivalry once again. Those are some big, hatred, you know, clashes, that have, been disrupted by, teams switching conferences. And it'll be nice to see those done again. Even Oklahoma and Missouri, there's, bad blood from back in the day when Chase Daniels and Sam Bradford were, slinging the rock in the Big 12. Those were some games, but it's going to be interesting, especially with the 12-team playoff coming. Um, I think that going off of what you said, like home field advantage, um, I think that once you hit like that next round, I think your first round should be home field advantage. It comes into seeding, and then after that, you start into your bowl games. So you can still have a good revenue build on your bowl games itself, but you're also still keeping your main bowl games alive, outside of your, major five, because the granddaddy of all, of them all is still always going to be the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is always going to be there. But we're talking about like the Texas Bowl or I think it's the Cotton Bowl nowadays at the end of the year. And then, maybe like the Cheez It Bowl, something, that's not necessarily primary uh, bowl game that we're used to watching. It gives a chance for some of the smaller bowls to get into that big national TV stage, during the playoffs. But I think the first round needs to be like home field advantage. Even if it is Pac-12 teams going to, I don't know, Tennessee, in the middle of January. You know what I mean? That's just part of football, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's yeah, them West Coast teams, and that's gonna be fun to watch. Like, we're accustomed to watching the cold weather in the NFL, especially playoff time, and that Buffalo Miami game last week was crazy.
Yeah.
They had to postpone the game because, come on, it's Bills Mafia. They don't know how to act to begin
Oh yeah.
with. They throw in the snow. at the Dolphins players. Um, I mean, I
He was
love
just trying to
Bills.
have a little fun. Just trying to
It's
have a little
just
fun.
have a little fun. That's
Yeah.
Bills Mafia. That's
I tell you what,
they
if I'm
different.
paying for like I can just imagine how much a front row ticket at a Buffalo game costs nowadays, especially at a big matchup like the Miami Buffalo game. For that amount of money, I'm definitely throwing at least one snowball. At least one snowball.
Oh man, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if you see a Texas alum, you probably gonna throw it at that person, or it might be the best player of the opposing team. Um, so let's talk Baker Mayfield because he's had a very active season off
It's
the
been
Rams.
interesting to say the
Um,
least.
I'm still mad that he got a win against the Saints while he was with Carolina. So I'm a little petty over that. But now he's with the Rams for at least for the next few weeks. And it's being reported the Stafford is coming back.
Yep.
So next season, I mean they gave up a lot for him. So you might as well. So of course you will hope that he comes back
Yeah.
with the injuries and everything. So Mayfield's going to be looking for a different team, it appears. Um, so out of all the teams that is might be in need of a quarterback, um, where do you think that Baker Mayfield goes from here? Where do you think he's going to end up next year?
Well, I think we've seen the past two teams, excluding the Rams, not talking about LA themselves. Um, I think he needs to walk into a functional organization, for himself. I think that, uh, I think he needs stability first and foremost. Um, I think that first game in LA with him and Sean McVay showed some people, okay, this is what he can do with a real coach and a real OC who knows what they're doing. You know, granted, they went into Green Bay, and, it took a L, but not many quarterbacks go into the frozen tundra in December and take a W. So, um, but I think if he was smart, if they offer, I'd stay in LA and learn from Matthew Stafford for a year or two. I think he'd benefit well. He's never been in a room that he was not the best quarterback on that roster. I think that he needs to be taken under somebody's wing and shown how to be a professional quarterback, because I don't think he's ever been shown how to be a professional quarterback and how to conduct himself in the locker room. Um, it's going to take a lot of pride to swallow for him, but I think long-term wise, if he's invested just as much as Stafford is, the Rams are going to take notice. Like, you don't have a first round pick for what, the next 4 or 5 years in LA. Like, Matthew Stafford's not going to last that long. Like, you have a number one overall pick who still got some juice left in him. Like his tank's not empty. Give him some time, learn your system, learn from a real quarterback, learn from a real head coach, and see where it goes. I mean, because if he goes to another system, for instance, let let's just say hypothetically, Houston don't take a quarterback with the number one overall pick. He's walking into the exact same situation he walked into Carolina, and didn't work out very well. I think he needs to be smart about it, and I think that's his best move is going to somewhere where he can sit behind a real quarterback, a real offensive coordinator, and just soak it up and learn. I think that's his best move right now.
Yeah, I feel like taking the backup route was probably the way to go.
Yeah.
You learn from McVay, you learn from Stafford, who's an overall nice guy, complete opposite
Hmm.
personality wise with with Mayfield. Um, Now, you had something going with Cleveland with Stefanski. From my understanding, he's an offensive minded coach. Um, he had Matt
That's
Rule,
debatable.
yeah. uh, then you had Matt Rule. He's an offense of mind, but he's kind of
He's
new and
college offensive minded.
college offensive mind, but NFL wise, not so much. Hence why he got
Yes.
fired. Probably find another collegiate coach well by now. Um, but now I, I say the Rams. Yeah, it's probably best for him to stay in LA for a year or two. Kind of go through what Jameis Winston had to go through, learn from Drew Brees, and just
Yep.
wait his turn. Maybe he'll get that opportunity once Stafford's contract expires or he retires. One of the two will happen. Because that's just I'm looking at the NFL. I'm looking at these teams right now. That's not going to be many teams.
No, I mean,
You
and
know,
if there is, they're not great situations for a quarterback to walk into. Like, granted, if you get drafted there, well, you got the short end of the stick. You just got to take it how it comes. But like if you're a quarterback that's on the market looking for a new home, none of these options look or sound appealing. Like, and there's like you said, there's not very many. Like so, and one of them is a place that you already been. I think maybe if maybe New York, the Giants or the Jets, if they come calling, those maybe your only two real options. If the Jets decide to move forward or move on from Zach Wilson and Danny Dimes is out as Giant starter, I mean, maybe, but that's it. You know, Other than that, like I think your best bet, like I said, staying in LA.
so something just came through my mind while you was talking. Now, there might be a team that's definitely going to need a QB, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I kind of chuckled when I thought about it. It's in the division that he was just at. I'm not talking Carolina,
You're
you
talking New
know,
Orleans.
I'm talking New Orleans. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with Dalton and Winston. Dalton signed a 1 year deal. And he's a nice guy, but he ain't the long term solution. Jameis, he's he got injured these last 2 years, and apparently he and Coach Allen ain't seeing eye to eye. Um, I feel bad for Jameis, but hey, my team's still in the playoff hunt at
Yeah,
5-9.
that whole division is still
It's
in the playoff
trash.
hunt. Man, it is wild
Yeah.
over there.
Um, I'm all for look. I'm a reality TV junkie, so this is kind of like a train wreck that you know what's happening, but you can't get enough of it. The fact that
Yeah,
Tom Brady, with 3 games left, is under 500. Like,
it's
dude,
crazy.
you came out of retirement for this,
In his
and
first time of his career, he has lost 8 games in a season. I thought that was a mind blowing stat that you've
yeah,
been in the league for 8 years, or not 8 years, but 20 plus years,
yeah.
and you've never lost 8 games until now.
I mean, Tampa might be a solution for Baker, if
Yeah,
especially if Brady were to retire. Um,
it's a possibility.
it's a possible, but their head coach is a defensive minded. Saints coach is a defensive minded. I want him fired, and maybe for the love of God, bring Sean Payton back. Maybe that'll convince Baker to get on board. I mean, he made a miracle
I'll
out of
tell you where
Drew.
I think that Sean Payton going to end up.
Hmm.
I think I think he'll end up in Carolina.
I will hope not.
I think he'll end up. No, just hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
You have a nice core defense that's not coached very well. Um, you have some talent on offense. You don't have a lot, but you got some. You have a top 5 pick in this year's draft,
Yeah.
and you got 5 more picks before you get to the 130th pick. What's not appeasing to that job? You get to pick your quarterback, essentially, and you get to build your roster how you want. And you still got DJ Moore, and you still got Shy Burns. You got Brian Burns on the other side. You can always extend him going into the offseason because if not, somebody's going to snag him. There's going to be a plethora of free agents that are worth spending top dollar for this season. And you got the richest NFL owner on the market. Like, what's not appeasing to that job?
It is appeasing. But as far as the quarterback, of course, Sam Darnold is still there. PJ Walker, I think he's a
Shout out
better
PJ
X.
Walker.
I like
I
Mr.
think
XFL, I like to call him.
yeah,
He's,
PJ Walker is a nice
yeah,
quarterback. I don't think he's a starter, but he is a solid backup, man.
yeah,
He is a solid backup.
yeah. So you probably gonna have to cut bait with Sam Darnold.
Got to.
And then as far as the QB choices, because I think Stroud or Rice is going to Houston. It's one of the two. Or maybe the TCU guy, the Duggan. Or I think Williams is coming back next year in May for North Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much down to Stroud or Young. So whoever goes to Houston, they probably get the other one.
I know people are hating on him right now because of stats in the SEC, but we also got to realize what offense that he's in. Man, that I really like this Kentucky quarterback coming into this draft class. I think he's your prototypical NFL quarterback. He's got a big arm. His IQ is really high. He's got a lot of upside. He's not very injury prone. Like, I think he's going to make a great quarterback somewhere. I think he's going to make a great quarterback for somebody. I don't think that him and Sean Payton team up, but I think that'd be a nice pairing.
And I will say this for Sean Payton. Whoever does end up with him going to have to give up a first round pick. And the Saints will be real happy.
Yeah, because the Saints still own the.
Yeah, the Eagles got our first round
Yeah.
pick. It's top 10. And they have to face them on week 17. So hopefully the Eagles will beat the Cowboys. And then Jalen Hurts can just rest for the rest of the season. And maybe the Saints can somehow win their last few games and get that playoff berth. So I will be rooting extremely hard for Philly, even if you have Minshew mania that, it hurts. It's been ruled out.
Shout out Uncle Rico coming to do work on New Year's Day. Or not New Year's Day, but Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Well, great talking with you, AR Green. Enjoy yourself. Have a good weekend. And look forward to 2023, man. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your evening. Happy holidays, my guy.
Holidays to you as well, man. All right.
All right, my guy.
All right.